Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Brightlingsea Town Council meeting of the 15th of January 2026. And before we start, may I offer my best wishes and a happy new year to all of you here from the council. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on, apologies for absence.
Apologies from councillors Howard and Steady.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 2, the minutes of the last meeting. I think you've all been issued a copy. Do I have any comments about the accuracy of the minutes? Any other?
Happy to move.
Second? Proposer?
Yeah.
Second? Yeah. All those in favour? Thank you very much. There's announcements. Very little activity from me for attending meetings other than private meetings, but obviously the main thing to officially announce is that the council has received Matthew Court's resignation as a councillor. I'm not going to say anything else other than that we've received that and move on, unless anybody else has got any comments on the issue. Thank you very much.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know, that I think we do sort of need to express a lot of gratitude for the work that Matt's done over the time he's been on the council. But you know, obviously he's clearly set out his reasons for doing that, and I think we have to respect that and wish him all the best.
Yep, fine. I concur with that as well, of course. Yep. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item 4, declarations of interest. Are there any items on the agenda? Thank you. So we move on to item 5 then, report from our county councillor, Alan Goggin. Will you come and sit up here, Alan?
Thank you. I'll sit here. I've still got a bit of a cough, so is it okay if I use this chair?
Yeah, you please do.
Evening, everybody. I think I wished you a happy new year last time I came, so I just wish you a new year. The mayor has put me on the notice to say we've got to be short tonight, so I'll do it the easy way. There's a couple of things I wanted to bring out, but is there anything in my notes that anybody wants me to pay particular attention to? That's no, that's good.
Well, I think the interesting thing is about the potholes, I think.
Well, my number 2, I think to be honest, that's Grip the Nation. It was funny enough, it was on tonight. I mean, potholes are a huge problem for the whole of the UK. There's no getting away from it. They're a problem. They're an issue. The only comfort is that the government reviewed 154, maybe 152, 154 councils, and they give them a traffic light system of red, amber, green. And red is very poor, amber is middle of the road, and green is good. And there are 16 councils that have got green, and Essex is the only one in East Anglia. Now, that doesn't mean they're wonderful. It doesn't mean they haven't got any potholes. It doesn't mean they've not got any drains blocked. It just means that of all the people in the country that have the same problem, the government review system puts our efforts in the top 16. Don't know where we are in the top 16, and I've just given 16 that got green. That's it's a bit of a boost, because we've got a lot of very good workers working hard to try and keep up with this. But it's when you're top of a tree, if it's a little short tree, you're still top of the tree. But it doesn't mean to say the pothole system is not great. But Essex are trying their best, and it's been recognised that they're in that category. So that's I don't think there's any more I can say. But if you want to, by the way, the document it's over 1,000 pages. So if you've got nothing better to do, but there is a summary, and I put to a certain extent something in there. One of the things that some of the councils have got rated particularly red for is the government last year put some money into county council coffers specifically for earmarked for potholes. And there was a big thing made about it. It was a good thing. That was a good issue by the Labour Party. and not every council used the money in the thing that it was designed for. So they're the ones that have been wrapped over the knuckles, and that's particularly only because our neighbours suffer. So I'll pass on that unless anybody's got there. From our point of view, there's a new highways portfolio holder. Many of you know Mark Platt, and his deputy is Dan Land. So as it happens, that's a nice little cabal up here. The date has now been confirmed for the road safety signs. It is February the 13th, subject to anything obvious like something more serious cropping up or some sort of delay in the weather. Queen Street, I had to speak to someone in Queen Street about the repair up there. Locally, I was asked to support Pens and Dragons, and I know a few of you have got enthusiastics there. We've managed to put in for some grant for some books to help them with their library. It's got past stage 1, it's into stage 2. You can't guarantee just because you put in for a grant that you're going to get it, but it's a very good cause. So it gets my support. Curbstones, we ignore that. The library have done that. I attended on Monday, along with many others, the sports forum from TDC. To be blunt, I congratulate Mick Barry on getting that amount of people there. There was a good turnout. There was a good cross section of people. A lot of things that he will know it's a standard argument. What about this and what about that, and why can't we have one? But I thought there was a fair bit of enthusiasm in the room. And hopefully that will help you guide to do what you're doing on that. I think, Mr. Mayor, if that's okay with you, I think I'll do that.
I'll ask thank you for that, thank you. Councillors, does any of you have questions?
I just want to reiterate about the Pens and Dragons things. I mean, they are a really good organisation.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased that you're able to help them.
Well, to be fair, they completed the SIF application. This was something that you never put lots of these things are public money. It's public money, and there's no reason why organisations shouldn't apply for it. But sometimes you can go direct. You can go direct to SIF, and they've gone direct to SIF, and then they thought they would go to tendering for some sports money. But somewhere down the line, someone has to sign it off and take responsibility for it. I've never been in one of their units before. I went down there, had a thoroughly enjoyable sort of afternoon. Some really nice people, and again, one of the sort of unsung heroes of what's going on. And there's many of them. I thought it was a good cause.
Good, excellent, thank you. Any other?
Yeah, a couple of points. Thanks, Alan, and yeah, thanks for your attendance at the meeting on Monday. Yeah, it was a well-attended meeting. Hopefully,
I think it was at the only water ski club in
I think you were. Yeah, we had all sorts, golf and tennis and everything. So it was good cross representation of what's going on in the town. Just a question on the elections for the county council. I have been reading the press, and I understand Ken Bentley has been very public in his support for those elections to take place, but there's noises coming from Labour ministers that the zombie elections are not really worth holding. But what's your view on it? And is there going to be any further debate, or is that's now the final position? County Council is going to hold the election.
I would love to say I knew the answer. I think what's fair to say is, okay for me, Karen, just to summarise, what the government of the day have said is if any district council wants to defer their elections for a reason, and the only justifiable reason that I can see that be deferred, it's got nothing to do with the people coming in. It shouldn't have anything to do with the people coming in. It's whether the current staff can transition to the new systems. That's the only logic. There's no other logical reason for putting the elections off. And the people that will make that decision will be exactly the same as before. It's the government. So we'll be led. We've led ourselves, and we've publicly stated that we would support the elections as they are. But if the government come along and say no, then that's the answer.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if I can,
Yeah, I've got this question.
want to do that now?
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
I have a question from Councillor Graham Steady for you, as he's not here, so he's asked me to read it. No, the chair has. Essex Highways drain clearing has been taking place in Brightonsea this week. Graham spoke to the operatives regarding having a schedule for drain cleaning in the town.
Yeah.
Could we please have a copy of the schedule for the rest of the year, so when residents ask the question, we have an answer?
Yes, no problem at all. In fact, if he cares to go online, the schedule is published. It's a twice a year. I think it's a twice a year exercise. I doubt if I would imagine in Brightonsea 400 drains. Would we have 400? Something like that.
I've never counted them.
Got a question in that one?
So if he's expecting day by day, drain by drain, that ain't gonna happen, sorry. But it's available, it's on site.
Well, I think that's the answer.
It was on Essex County Council site, yeah?
Yes. And there's an explanation there about what they will. There are the odd occasions, and you will understand this. There's the odd occasion they block to do come down, and people don't move their cars. So that's always.
I think that's one of the reviews.
I think that's one of the problems with the place. There's one in Victoria Place which is particularly irritating. Apparently, every time they tried to do it, the cars haven't been.
I think the reason for the question was, I think, he was suggesting that we advise some of the people when the street is going to be done,
Yeah.
so they weren't on.
That's fine as long as you say, as I do, look, if they're coming this week, they're coming next week, they're coming to put the lights, the signs up on February the 13th, barring nothing else getting in the way. That you know, just be really to say that they're going to be coming the 3rd week in September or the 5th week is possible. So, but we're more than happy to do that.
Okay, fine. Thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll suspend the meeting for a moment while, if there's any members of the public who would like to ask Alan any questions.
No, it's just one thing, Alan, about the, you'll hear about the Essex Climate Action Commission. Does that link in with the Essex Local Nature Recovery Strategy, which Essex County Council, your stakeholder, Tendron stakeholder, and Brightonsea have just approved green corridors, whatever? Because yours is the marine thing. I wondered, because there are on the Essex thing, you can get money. There's a £200 grant. I wondered if you're likely to the actual document that they've produced with people from Essex University is about 250 pages long. It's pretty in depth. But I wondered if this all links in with your coastal thing.
Thanks very much. It's a good question. My coastal thing is slightly different because it's focused on marine conservation. So it's the IFCA offshore thing based at Brightonsea. So that's where that comes in. But I did attend my first meeting, and I was amazed how many groups had already linked in. So without being too clever, I'd be amazed if they weren't.
Well, the Brightonsea and Manchester are actually mentioned in this document.
Yeah.
Too. So I wondered how it all sort of linked in.
Well, I think you'll find the one beforehand. I actually made sure Brightsea was mentioned because one of the things that we've got lots of, we've got very good. I don't mean grasses. What do I mean?
Open space.
No,
Marshes.
not what's not ferns. What are they? That stuff. Woodland. Got a fisherman.
You mean
Oh, Marshall.
Marshall.
We've got
Marshall.
reeds and stuff.
Yeah, that's apparently.
Saltings.
Sorry?
Saltings.
Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's it. Okay. Apparently we've got more of that than anybody else, and it's more efficient than planting a forest full of trees. So I didn't know that. So when I was at that meeting, thank you, and I mentioned A, Brightlingsea, and B, St Osiers, because they're doing the same thing. They're almost farming it. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. I just wonder what the link up, because that seems to be a big project, this 250 page document.
Can I just add
Yeah.
a little bit? I mean, are you talking about the local nature recovery strategy?
Yeah, that's what I'm
The
talking
one
about,
that, I mean, I think that came out, was it last September? Something
Yeah.
like that. But, I mean, we had a briefing here, with an officer from Essex County Council.
Yeah.
Last year, and that was attended by some of our very, active, well-established local nature groups. And I think that you will know the Nature Network coordinator, Susie Jenkin, is very much kind of been part of this whole document and championing Brightlinsea's, strengths. And I think the document is very ambitious in its outlook in terms of creating greater amounts of sustainable habitat. But I think it's up against the balance of house building comes along and kind of impinges on that. So there's there's an debate to be had, and I think Brightlingsea has got a strong voice at that table whenever it.
Well,
takes
Councillor
place.
Carr's got information about these wildflowers on the bus shelters. He knows more about it than I do.
On Saltings.
Yeah. No, on the bus shelters.
Oh, I
actually-
do?
Yeah, you do know something.
Well, but I have to declare, it's my little brother supplies all the flowers to the seedlings for the bus shelters in Greater London.
Right.
But, yeah.
Okay. I think we'll leave that there then.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no other questions? Okay, thank you.
I'm
I'll,
off to St Osiers, obviously.
yeah, okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's it.
Say hello to somebody.
Pass our compliments on.
Yeah.
If, therefore I could move on to, restart the meeting and I'll, move to item 6, the report from the district council.
See you later, everybody.
Mick, you,
There's nothing really to add. It's been, obviously we had a fairly long break over Christmas, and I've been buzzing around with family illness and so on, but I will just echo what you said about the meeting on Monday. It's the start of a series of meetings around the district, and we had the first one here, bringing together all the sports groups, activists, interested parties to try and establish a dialogue to help people. Councillor Mitchell was there, thank you very much, and it's Councillor Morgan came along. So there was, we had good representation, and I think the idea is that we establish a forum where we can share good practice amongst different organisations on all levels related to fundraising, youth development, coaching, whatever you do as a sports club, we want to encourage, and we're trying to launch a grant system. We have a series of grants that clubs can apply for to put on an event, or to support an individual, or to train and get their coaches qualified. So it was, I think we had 20 representatives in the room, and we're replicating that. We want to Rutland, Harwich, Clacton and Mislead over the course of the next few weeks. So hopefully that will be something that will get established, and will give us representation and resilience about our facilities and our clubs and organisations going into LGR, the unknown of LGR. So there'll be plenty of structure there to protect what we've got. So I was pleased with the turnout.
okay, thanks. Anything else?
No,
That's it. Okay, thank you. Joe?
No, I just want to put on record to thank Councillor Steady for stepping in the cabinet for me. The week before Christmas doesn't work very well, when you're at home in time shop, so, he set it, and today I chaired, the staff awards panel, but I'll put a full report in when that becomes public and when the awards take place, so.
Okay, fine, thank you. Any questions? Any other councillors? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on then to item 7. Because obviously of where we are in the year, we've only, I understand, only had 2 meetings of the teams. Back to you, Jane, have you got anything on the welfare residents?
No, no, lots of work with the residents. I had 2 meetings this morning with social services and residents, but again, under confidentiality, that's all I'm going to say. I have had meetings. And the COVID and flu vaccinations, when you look at the numbers, 531 COVID and 209 flu vaccinations in vitamin C alone, I think they said somewhere along the line of 90+% of them being vitamin C residents, so it was worth doing, and they've already booked, we're ready to go for next year, so.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you, yeah, very good. So moving on to the communications and tourism.
Yes, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, we had a meeting on Monday the 12th of January. We did have a meeting penciled in for today at 2 PM with Colchester City Council to talk to an expert about social media. Unfortunately, that officer was unable to attend, and we've reverted that now to February, Friday the 30th. You'll note on the notes here from the communications team that we've been quite busy. We've issued 12 statements and public notices since October 25, which is good, I think. And we are working on a project initiative now with Councillor Mitchell to do a newsletter, a U7 we did type of fair, and we hope to bring news of that to full council at a later date.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. So, moving on therefore to item number 8, finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just firstly, before we start, Tracy, I noticed that, I've just noticed all councillors in attendance was Jane Chapman. I think that you left before that, and you haven't actually got me there.
I haven't, sorry.
You've got a report?
Yeah.
So I better not report.
Sorry.
So we're going to just change that. So there we are. 4 recommendations, and so I think just going through them I think the first one really is on the budgets of F241, and there's 2 parts to that. The first part is obviously we've had this issue with overnight parking and caravans staying up on Western Promenade, and the council will be trying to find an answer to that, and we discussed this at length, and Councillor Barry came up with some ideas. I don't know whether you want to just fill in on this part.
Yeah, we've through the relevant officer attending, we have been in discussions with the North Essex Parking Partnership, and the committee that authorises traffic regulation orders, and it is acceptable if we wish to take the course of action to pay for the signage and signs and lines that are necessary, which would enable us to get the problem addressed more quickly. If we go through the normal committee routine, that there's a set timetable for that, and that would take us to July committee with an implementation timetable of probably next year sometime. So we would have the problem persisting again over this summer and this year. So we've got, the finance report will, I think, confirm that we've got approval for the required funding, and there's now, I have informed the chairman of the NEP committee, and so it's just a case of us having confirmation of the cost, but also an agreement about the wording and the signage that we wish to have put up there. So I think I've said before at these meetings that it's a balance between, you know, dealing with a persistent problem and but also maintaining kind of openness and a welcome for lots of other tourists and residents, and so we need to be mindful of how we address the problem. But I think we do need to make sure that we can't become a sort of open site for various people to pitch up and put caravans. And so it's underway, and it should hopefully be addressed in the very near future.
So I think that everyone in the town supports this measure because it is an issue, particularly in health and safety and all the rest of it. But I think within the last years, which this council wishes to pursue, which scheme, where I think you've got two schemes here, Nick. You've got one for 5,800 and one for 3,500, which is different types of signage, isn't it? Do you want to explain that?
Well, one is they're similar to schemes that are current and operational in other parts of the district, and particularly along Frinton and Holland seafront, where it restricts large vehicles or caravans, camper vans, motorhomes, etc. Not allowed to park in certain designated bay areas, which they will mark out. So I think that's what the cost is. They've got to mark out the whole side of the prom into bays which people can't park in overnight. And it will also, I think, prevent HGVs from parking up down there. But the alternative is to put a yellow line down that side with a time restriction from 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So again, effectively stopping overnight stays. But I think we've got to look at the options and agree as a council. I think this, you know, a small working party should look at that and agree what we feel is the best wording to deal with the problem that we've got, and then we'll get a final price on that.
Up to council, obviously, but the recommendation is for us to decide here. But I mean, it's difficult.
I don't think it decide the actual wording, because what applies in kind of Frinton and Holland might not apply here. So I just think we have to be careful that we get it
the right scheme. Yeah.
So we've got license, we've got agreement to fund a scheme of lines and signs. And we've got two proposals there, and I don't think that the costs will vary enormously, but the wording might. So I just think we've got to get our wording right, so that we we prevent parking overnight on a regular basis, but we do also keep access open for tourists.
Is the wording, sorry John, is the wording restricted to specific wording, or is it wording that we can choose?
We can choose the wording,
We
yeah.
can choose it, exactly.
I mean, the guidance is what they want, as I say, what is already operational at Frinton Holland, which seems to work.
So we can change times and...
Yeah, we change times and vary. I mean, I think we're trying to restrict the same vehicles and the same kind of parking restrictions, but we can perhaps tweak the times or tweak what we want on there to our particular needs.
With my tourism hat on, I think the white lines is a softer version. It's still, it's enforceable. It's a softer version. As far as the word is concerned, I had a look, went down after we met up and had a look at the wording down on Holland and Clacton. Let's face it, Clacton and Holland itself are fairly big tourism things, and that wording sort of does it for me. I can't really see. But you're right to say that we ought to look at it to see if we can add to it. But for me, it fits the bill.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think we can definitely go down that route and be guided, I think, by officers and the.
Can I just make an observation on that point? I understand completely what John's saying about the softer option, but I think the timing, which is why I asked specifically about the timing. During the summer, residents can't use the Hedring car parks for free, so a lot of residents do park there later on into the evening. So if we're looking at a cut-off at 9 o'clock, we're shooting our residents in the foot a little bit around that. So,
Yeah, that might need looking at.
yeah.
Yeah. So would you like the recommendation to be changed to the small working party would look at it and come back?
Well, can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion that we vote on doing this?
Yeah.
And I think we could, the maximum budget we will allow is £5,800, and then create a small committee that decides which one. Because I don't want to go through revolutions of this, I want to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with
And I'm
that.
sure that the
I think
residents will
agree
agree.
in principle and
Yeah,
finance,
exactly.
and then we can, call it the final version.
So can I I'd like to, or maybe you would like to make the proposition that we approve this, subject to the committee picking the best resolution.
I'm happy to second it if it needs a second.
Okay, are we all in content with that? All in favour? Thank you. And then I might suggest that yourself and Mick and whoever else, Kate,
Would be good.
a small subcommittee to pick the right hand. Okay.
You're the sign expert.
I am a sign expert. Keep chugging it, yeah.
Okay, well, that's the important move forward for the town, I'm sure. There's part B on 241, which of course is the budget, which the finance committee looked at in depth, and had a great presentation by Councillor Atkinson. You notice that we recommended precept for next year will be increased by 4.1%, which I think equates to about 27 pence per month or something per household. David, do you want to say anything about that?
No, I was going to say, I think we calculated at £4.20 a year.
Yeah, well, just briefly on the income side, we made some very small increases to our charges, 2.5% for recreation and 5% for commercial. There's nothing much we can do about the leases because there's no, for the next few years we can't move those. Nor can we change our rents. So there's not a lot of movement on the income apart from the precept. And then on the costs, the costs are actually dominated by the payroll, which we've allowed 5% for in the light of the sort of recommendations. So that increase dominates the costs. So if you look at all of that, if we go for a 4.1% increase, then we end up with a £5,000 surplus. So there's a little bit left over at the end. Fortunately, all our reserves are in good order now, and likely to be so at the end of this financial year. So we don't have to worry too much about increasing those. So that seems to be a fairly reasonable report.
Okay, then, thank you.
I just want to thank David for all his hard work on this. I know I had his budget, the finance meeting, but sitting through the budget meeting, it was a really good job, thank you. And I'm really pleased to say that after I asked, don't put the percentages in, put the amount in, that to put the pence in, I think settles a lot of members of the public, because the first thing they're going to look at is 4.1%, so it's above inflation and all the rest of it, but when you boil it down to the pennies, if you like, it tends to sit a bit easier. So, thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Any other?
Do you want to take that as a separate item?
Yes, I think so, because it is a precept on here, so
Can you recommend with all the amounts, please?
right, okay, shall I read that out? Okay, so the proposition is that the precept of £259,870 gives a council tax, council tax band D rate of £83.21, an increase of £3.30 over the year, or 27.5 pence per month. Okay, and then the recommendation is the budget is accepted with the precept request for 2025 and 2026.
Sorry, that should be 26, 27.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going backwards. For 26, 27, being £259,875, an increase of 4.1%. And I'm presuming you're proposing?
I'm happy to propose that, Mr. Chairman.
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you, Greg. All those in favour? Any against? That's unanimous. Okay, thank you very much.
So moving on,
Yeah.
as we have a big item at the end, I think we'll just carry on. The next one's 242 is a recommendation regarding 3 banners that cost £23. Everyone happy with that? Any comments? On that. And then the F244 is the MMO proposed settlement, which you can see we're recommending the settlement of 26,595.50 is made to the MMO in consideration of the non-piling. There has been a public statement made out from the madam, if you wish to add into that.
Only to point out that this is really a repayment for the costs that we received but did not use for the pilot.
Okay, but it is an end to it. It's been about 2 or 3 years of negotiations, and I think everyone will be pleased to see that's done and agreed, and that the MO are happy with that. Yeah, so we need to just
So you want to propose that
Yeah.
issue?
I second.
For the MLO, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you very much.
And that completes the minutes of the finance meeting.
Okay, we have your. Okay, thank you very much. So moving on therefore to the finance report part D, and I think John?
Mr Mayor, fellow councillors, Councillor Morgan and I have examined the accounts for December 2025, and under the delegated authority of the Finance Committee confirmed that 17 payments in the sum of £6,882.31 have been authorised and paid. The statement of balances on the following accounts are to be accepted. Our current account is £14,526.49. Our business premium account is £28,923.69. Our business premium account, 9433, is £449.50. Our CCI Public Sector Deposit Fund is £102,616.47. Our instant access account is £24,670.85, and our current T2 account is £86,777.37. This makes a total of all accounts of £257,964.37. Our income for December 2025 was £8,969.46, and our expenditure for December 2025 was £28,767.26. Our income to date, 1st of April, 31st of December 25, £452,440 threepence. Our expenditure to date, 1st of April, 31st of December 25, £331,684.30. Employee payments paid for the month of December 2025 were £18,744.20. Market card payments for December 2025 were £213.60, and cash card payments for December 2025 were £132,098.
Thank you very much. I presume you're proposing. Your second?
Definitely second, yes.
All those that approve? Thank you very much. John, it's a long time since I've heard threepence. I'm not even sure if that's true anymore. Good. Okay, moving on therefore to item 9, planning. As Councillor Jean Howard is away at the moment, I've been deputising. You have the minutes of the meeting. The couple of things I'd like to point out. On the 6th of January, we had a application come to us to change the use of Oakland's rest house into a child care home. And you will note that we did not support that application. The grounds on that not supporting it was not that we aren't in favour of having child care in the town. It was the information provided was very sketchy. And in fact, I think our objection went back to the TDC saying, whilst we support the idea of a child home in the area, we would like far more information. one of the concerns that was voiced by some of the residents that came to the meeting was, for example, parking, because we understood, I think, at that meeting that it was a 2-to-1 staff ratio, 10 children in there, so there's got to be quite a few cars parked outside for people working there. Things like that, and as everybody knows, it's a very busy road. So I'd just like to make the point here that whilst we did object to that, it was on the basis of the information, not that we objected on the fact that we.
And we call it.
Yes, and we were going to call it on the basis of getting more information. The second part of that meeting, we also, I'm not quite sure why it was at that meeting, but anyway, we went further with agreeing the reply, or submissions, should I say, to the Tendring District Council survey on the preferences of the council as a whole for the construction of the new district, urban, whatever we're going to call it. Unitary, sorry, thank you, unitary organisation. And we went through somebody went through the questions for us, and we went back with the proposition that we do not support the 3, but we're supporting the 5, which I think is a general consensus of our meetings before. I think it's just worthy of mentioning those 2 things. Other than that, I have nothing else to say, unless there's any questions.
Did you want an update on the local?
I was going to say, further to that, that is the planning, but last night we had a further meeting about the local plan with the planning officer, Gary Guyver.
Tuesday.
It was Tuesday, sorry. And a number of us were there, but I'll let Jane give her opinion of what happened on that.
Basically, it was, the local plan has to be reviewed every 5 years. We've got my next local plan meeting at Tendring is on the 22nd of January. There'll be 2 rounds of public consultation, and then they have to submit it to the Secretary of State by the end of the year. It's mandatory housing targets have now been introduced. You're given a figure, or Tendring's given a figure. Basically, you have to deal with it. It's the new housing targets. So the housing targets go from 550 to 1,063. There is approximately 10,700 houses in the pipeline, but it still leaves a shortage. So the next meeting, which will be coming up, will include now the environmental impact, biodiversity, which has to come in by law. So it won't be so much on do we agree the sites or anything, that part is technically passed. The next thing will be bringing in the policies. And it's the same statement, who knows if these are ever going to be built. So it was agreed at the meeting that once I get the paper agenda that we'll get some copied and we'll sit down between councillors and you can basically tell me what you want me to ask at the meeting. But we did say we would email in our questions to Gary beforehand.
Okay. I thought there was a couple of things that came out of it from me as well that was very interesting. One was that they struggled to find applications or available sites in Brightsea. So they called for land, i.e. owners wishing to have their area developed. There was very few in Brightsea. And the ones that were all on the outskirts. And it was pointed out that it was a shame because if that was developed, it would be somewhat disconnected because of the land in between them is not being filled in. And the second thing that was really interesting, and I think needs to be considered when we talk about this in a negative sense, if Tendring District Council cannot demonstrate they have a 5-year supply line of housing to the numbers required, the rule regulation, I'm not quite sure what it is, drops in that all applications until that has been achieved will be approved unless District Council can demonstrate they shouldn't be. So all applications will be approved unless there's something ridiculously wrong with it. So I think, it's right that they should build up a number where they can demonstrate a supply chain so that they have some call on what's happening in the development. Is there any questions or on that?
No, it's a very informative evening though. I thought he ran it very well, Joe. I think he's a very good man indeed. And really was trying to give us as much advice, I thought, as he could within the realms of his own position. But I did think he was very good and spoke very well.
Yes,
So the public consultation is due February, March. So it will run for 6 weeks and it will be held here. And they are expecting lots and lots of objections.
Particularly from Brian.
Right,
Well,
so-
I would recommend that people do look at that and fill it in, because it is the numbers that count. I mean, the council can go back, but in the end of the day, we fill in one form. Individuals that get a much larger number and hopefully influence the decision a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just to add some weight to that, I think as a town, we're probably going through one of the biggest change periods in living memory, not just around local government reorganisation, but also in terms of housing developments. I mean, we've had a couple of fairly significant ones in the last 10 years, but there is a proposal that we have another 300-400 houses on the outskirts, and I would concur that Gary Guyver gave a very well informed presentation in a very understandable manner, and I would encourage residents, as you say, to come along, and when we do have open meetings, to come and raise the questions and then fill in the consultation or take part in the consultation. The more we can get that, the stronger our case will be. But we did, we raised, I think, very kind of expected objections around traffic, density, infrastructure in the town, services, and so on. And it does, it does seem as though it doesn't matter how much more traffic or how much more pressure goes on the infrastructure, these things are kind of going to happen. Because as you say, the government has set a target, and I think it was quite frightening that Gary said that in the next 15 years to 2041, we need another 18,071 houses in tendering, and all you can see ahead is approximately another 10,000 in the pipeline. So we have to get another 8,700 from somewhere, and it's not like you can just click your fingers and get these things done. They take years and years and lots of investment, and whether we've got the developers and the bricks and mortar brickies, I don't know. But there's a lot of change, potentially on the horizon, and I think we've done a submission about the LGR, and we're currently in negotiations with tendering about asset transfers, and I think we are trying to protect what the town has got and what it considers to be important, and we will continue to do that. And I think as long as the council's got life in it, we will continue to do that. So
the agenda is and will be a public document, so I was going to say we don't need to copy the whole of the agenda because it's everything. We'll copy Brighton Sea part, but I was just going to say, members of the public, because of the policies that are being put into it, can we leave some here so if a member of the public wants a copy, then, and I know one of them will definitely want a copy, that they're here, that they can pick up on it as well. So.
Can we have some sound bites for the communications team to put out? So
Yeah.
something that will grab people's attention.
As soon as I got, I thought it'd be here today, but it isn't, so it's due any time, so we'll get it from them.
And I thought what was really useful was Gary said when we had that consultation back last time, Brightsea had the biggest turnout than anywhere else, so if we can replicate that, I think it will make a big difference.
Okay, anybody else got any comments on that?
that was very good.
No? Okay, thank you very much. So moving on therefore to questions from the public. just before we start this, I've had a couple of meetings with locals that actually do watch and listen to the proceedings via YouTube, and there was a request that as people from the public speak, they first announce themselves very clearly. One of the problems is, of course, the camera and the mic is pointing this way, so anybody from there that's speaking, it comes out very blurred. So as you get up and speak, please.
You can come and run in front of the camera here.
Okay, yeah.
I could sing and dance, but I've done that on the stage. I could dance all right.
Okay.
It's just about the biodiversity. My name is Richard Price, a long-standing resident of Islington. The biodiversity planning, what I read, is it right, Councillor Chapman? It's just about the size of a football pitch, is that right? Gary Scott did give me the dimensions, but I couldn't remember it.
I didn't know.
I don't know where it's got that from.
No, I didn't know it was size.
No, I don't think you can put a kind of quantifiable size on it until the assessment has been made. You know, in terms of the impact, when the development is put at the planning stage, there will have to be a environmental impact assessment, which will then assess the biodiversity impact and what then needs to be,
The actual government legislation was December the 16th, was the date that they brought this in. That was the date. So, I like to, you know what I'm like, I like to know all the details.
I mean, I think that the idea is that any biodiversity offset is done within the vicinity of where the development takes place. But my understanding is that you can buy credits on farms across town. There are land banks being set up as we speak where people will be selling BNG, biodiversity net gain credits, to authorities who have got a statutory obligation to offset any developments that they take. And I mean, it's going to be massive in Tenby. If you're looking at 18,000 houses, the impact on the environment is going to be very, very significant. And whether that can be offset in reality is a question that we may not be able to answer, Richard. So,
no, I just one figure that is quite depressing, really. According to AI, the projected population by 2030 in England will be 58.5 million people. 5 years later, it will be 60.5 million people, 2 million in 5 years. So you're quite right, the pressure everywhere will be enormous, but I might not be alive to see it.
We hope so, we
Don't say that.
Thank you very
Meetings
much.
will be so much quieter.
Thank you very much.
Any more? Do we have? Go on, Malcolm.
One comment and one question.
what's your name?
The comment was, I was very sad, Malcolm Morris, Spring Road. I was very sad that the town council turned down the planning permission for Oaklands for a children's care home. But I got the impression that the town council didn't want a children's care home by making an excuse for parking.
No, that was, I chaired that meeting, Malcolm, and that was.
That's the impression I got.
No,
Why don't you need a care home for children?
the town definitely needs it. And let me just read to you what we actually sent. Whilst Brackley Town Council agrees that there is a need for children in care, there is not enough information on this application to make a realistic decision. We require more information on the traffic management, parking details of the client group they are looking at, the support facilities that they propose in the local area for that age group. Brightling City Council would also like to call this in. Now, basically what we're saying is we're very happy to have a children's care home here, but we are very concerned that that care home is on the busiest road in Brightlingsea. There is very little parking along there. There is no indication in the application where these children are going to school. There is no proof that the school can take these children. And there were several other items in this that was just unclear. So we would like those answered. was a case that we'd like those answered rather than we object, but you don't get that. That is not an option we can take. So at this stage, all we could say is we do not support it until we've had that further information.
Like you said there, traffic management, Bromsgrove Town Council have done no traffic management on Church Road since Punches was a pilot.
When was that? Trinity House.
Anyway, I hope you could reconsider that.
We will reconsider it when we get more information, which I'm sure we will, because this application is bound to come back, and I hope it does. But we need answers as to. I really am concerned that. How old are they? 5 years? Is there controls about them stopping and running across the street? You know, that's the type of things that most parents would ask, and I think that's the way I viewed it.
Yeah, I think in the discussion there was very little information about the numbers that were going to go in there, and what kind of level of supervision and care was going to be required, like what client group were they. I mean, children in care are in care for very good reasons, and they need to be looked after. But there are varying degrees of, you know, problems and behavioural issues that need to be addressed. And some, I mean, I think one of the telling points around this is that children's care is a very profitable enterprise.
Unfortunately.
And there's about, I think the average sum of fee per week is about 6,000.
Well, I blame the county council for this, but
Well,
children's children's care homes.
I think there's a general problem in terms of accommodating children in care across the country. But what we wanted to make, well, we can't make sure, we can't dictate to the owners, but we wanted to have some say in what the quality and the numbers were going to be. So it wasn't just going to be a kind of Airbnb for children in care. We wanted it to be a properly resourced.
Well, if you supervise it, Mick, I have no doubts it would be.
That fitted in with the local, you know, community, as well as met the needs of the children.
Okay, thank you. Now, the second question.
Oh.
You gave it authority. You said there's a 5 and a 3. Which is the 3?
The three unitaries would, our combination of councils, if there were 3 unitaries, we would be the North, and it would be Tendring, Braintree, Colchester and Buttlesford, which obviously includes Saffron Walden and Stansted. And it was felt that we had very little kind of relationship with Buttlesford. We have working relationships with Colchester, so on the border, and also with Braintree to some extent. So we look at purchasing, you know, contracts and so on. But Buttlesford and Stansted has got its own particular issues, and we felt there would be a big kind of skew towards Buttlesford, who have financial problems, if we were to be part of the 3, as well as there being a lot less democratic contact between councillors and residents. I mean, none of it makes any sense to any of us, to be perfectly honest.
So which one would be the 5?
So the 5 would be Colchester, Tendring and Braintree. You'd likely have something like 100 councillors across those 3 authorities, where at the moment you have 150, I think, across the 3. So there'll be less representation. If you add Buttlesford into it, I don't know where they'd find a place big enough to have the council meetings.
Malcolm, on where you're sitting there, you've got the minutes of the meeting.
Yeah, just a minute.
There's an
May I
explanation.
speak, please? I'm on the
No,
public
you
speaking.
can't, Malcolm.
No, one more.
No, you're not. No,
So the
Malcolm.
3 that were considered
Malcolm, please. There's other people want to speak. You've had 2 questions.
No, I'm halfway through my second question. So the third.
Afterwards.
Yeah, I can talk to you a bit more.
Afterwards,
So-
Malcolm. Come on, let somebody else have a. Malcolm, please let somebody
Morgan and
else. Have
Southend weren't even considered.
Sorry?
Please,
Mick,
talk
just
to us.
ask, yes.
Can I explain that you can have I'll let you get away with 2, but not 3 when other people are speaking. Tony, you wanted to speak.
Public enemy number 1, Dave Stone. Yeah, why are Network Nature being allowed to strongly influence this council's policies?
In what way?
Yeah,
Well,
can
we
you
see,
develop that question a little bit more?
yes, we see things being done, and Network Nature done that. You take the car park down the Prom, which turned back to marsh. I've had no discussions of what's going to happen with that, except Nature Network think that's a good idea and it's going to stay as marsh. You know, we don't hear any discussions in the council about things like that. We just hear a bit hearsay.
I don't have an immediate answer to you on that one. I must admit, I understand where you're coming from, because I've heard something similar, but we need to come back to you. I think we'll do a written answer on that one.
I mean, there's been no, take the Prom for example, there's been no discussion. You know, if that's not used as a car park, this council's going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, as far
And
as
that's,
I know.
if you're interested in tourism, which I
Okay.
assume you are,
Yeah.
that is a big pull. of people who- They don't want to park on tarmac, those get full anyway.
Right.
They can sit in the car with a chair, kids can run around.
Yeah.
And that's the big asset of the town. And all we've heard is that Nature Network say, no, it's good let march, because there's bugs in it.
Right.
If you let it go any further, that'll take the whole area over. You're going to have deep holes which you're going to have to fence off because they'll be dangerous, and there's foul water in them.
I take your point, Malcolm, and we'll give you a written reply on that one, I think.
Thank you.
David, sorry. Got Malcolm imprinted on my brain.
A written reply would be appreciated.
Right, are there any other questions? So Malcolm, do you want to come back with?
Just one little one.
Go on.
What's the latest update on Bateman's Cafe?
We now receive a monthly report, and we await the latest release since Christmas. So
Are you going to include the monthly report in the minutes? 'Cause
it comes up on the FCA meetings, and then it'll come up in the.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, for the first time, we've actually had a very professionally prepared programme,
Right.
up to finish, nearly up to finish. So for the first time, we've actually got something we can monitor against. So there's a few milestones, quite clear milestones coming up to measurable. So the first one is in about 6 weeks' time. So at least we can now say, if you default on that, then it begs a whole series of questions.
So when is work likely to start?
Sorry?
When is something likely to be done? So the ice.
Well, yeah, basically the action starts in the spring. But there's a whole series of milestones. It's probably up to closure. There's probably 15 milestones that you can clearly identify, and so we can, for the first time, really hold them to account.
We have asked for is a monthly written update and a 3-monthly in-person meeting, so we can hold them to account to that schedule that Dave refers to.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Malcolm, you got a third question then?
Yeah, what it was, the three alternate, the authorities, so tendering, Malden and Southend weren't even considered then, as coastal authorities.
Not as a one unitary, no.
Okay.
We're Southend's quite weird, so I know we all have courses.
Oxford's a long way away as well,
Yeah.
as the crow flies.
Okay, fine. So finally, item 11 then, which is the town clerk's report.
Thank you very much. Just 3 items. The Blessing of the Waters Committee have asked if Councillor Carr will be the council's representative for 2026. If members are in agreement.
I'm happy to do it again. Probably wouldn't want to do it again next year. 2 years, I think, is a good run. I'll bring back information as I get it from the various committees.
Thank you. Fresh Air Festival are looking to put on a winter event using Victoria Place from 5 PM until 9 PM on Saturday, 28th of February. And I've given a brief outline of what's going on, which sounds very good if council are in agreement.
Yep.
One thing on that, it would have been lovely if they'd informed Techno Shopping, as this is a lot of what we do anyway. It would have been nice if we joined forces.
Yeah.
Because we do charity work as well, we give to charity as well. Our event is also free. We do an illuminated parade at the end of the night, we have stalls, we have entertainment, we have singers. It's literally the same, but a bigger budget because they have funding. And it has, I can't understand how everyone's sitting here and not even realising that
Could hit
how
my
that
night
actually
shop.
really has hurt us, because for 4 years we've worked so hard on that with no funding. We've worked our arses off to try and get people to help us and to bring people in, and now this looks like it's going to be a yearly thing 2 months later. It's just been a bit, it's been a bit of a kick in the
Sorry,
face.
I don't think that's fair.
No, and I'm not saying, I am totally with Winterfest,
Yeah.
totally with it. I just wish we had been involved as well.
It's not,
Chair,
it's
did we not
Winterfest,
bring this
it's
up
I am
last
not
year?
saying I'm against it at all, I'm just saying it's very
Fresh Air
similar.
Festival, not Winterfest.
It's not
No, Winterfest, they're doing it with Winterfest.
It's the end of the Winterfest.
They're doing it with Winterfest, no, it's absolutely fine, and I'm so with Winterfest. I just wish we had more information other than can we have your road brochures and can we have, like, we gave everything we could to help. I just was hoping we'd been involved, and we haven't been. Look, it's fine, I'm
Sorry,
so
I'm
with it.
totally outside.
Yeah, I think we take that conversation outside, because I think it's slightly more complicated than that, we think. Yeah, we'll come back to it, let's discuss that outside of this
I mean,
meeting.
I don't know, so this is as far as I know. All I'm saying is, it would have been nice if we had come together,
I agree.
as it's a winter event.
Yeah, we agree.
Totally, like, for it all, for the cause.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And the last one is the Bright Shadows are requesting to put a notice stroke sign at the entrance to Lower Park Landfills, so that they can inform the public of their presence. There's a picture there of the current gate and with the new sign. I have passed it by Terry, our grounds manager, he's happy, so long as council's happy.
Yeah.
I think it's quite neat.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, are we all approved? Yep.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just to remind council, we are to meet Bright Shadows regarding.
Oh, when I go back, I'll organise a meeting.
Sorry, when you meet Bright Shadows, can you ask if they've got anyone for sign writing? Brand new notice boards, or a refurbished notice board.
We did ask them.
We asked them to do the.
Yeah, but they-
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that covers everything, so with that, I'll close the meeting. Thank you very much for your participation.
Yeah.
Do you know where it's going?
Thank you. Too hard.